We'll just check Facebook here. There we are. Yes, I think we are live here somewhere. See if I can find the actual live stream here. I can see it tells me I'm live. Hi, everyone. For those, there we are. There we are. Oh, better just make sure my phone volume's down so we don't come through. All right, I'll just tag everybody so you can find me. Here we are. We're live. All right, I know the US contingent won't probably still be awake, but that's all good. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Transform with Plants live experience inside plant-based health and weight loss support group. I'm Kerryn, the Plant Power Coach, and I help people achieve their long-term sustainable weight loss goals on a plant-based diet. So if you're struggling to lose weight eating plant-based, then you're in the right place, all right? So there are thousands of books, podcasts, resources, all sorts of things out there in the world today showing the benefits of a plant-based diet. But the reality is that it doesn't mean that we're necessarily going to be able to achieve our weight loss goals eating this way. And also just knowing what to do doesn't mean we're going to do it. So if you're someone who is struggling, if you're struggling to achieve your goals, then you are in the right place here, all right? So in this space, either in this podcast or in this Facebook group, we dive into different topics that are going to help you get out of feeling stuck and into feeling successful. So if you are looking for quick fixes or hacks or potions or powders or anything like that, how to lose 30 pounds in 30 days, with all sorts of tactics, sorry, this isn't the right place for you. All right. We're into long-term behavioral change, understanding ourselves at a deeper level and how to change those behaviors so that weight loss becomes the effect of the way we're living our life. And so for many of my clients, weight gain is a symptom of something deeper, which is what we're going to talk about today. And today I'm bringing one of my amazing clients, Hayley, who has lost 20 pounds now, or just over 20 pounds, after struggling for years of trying. All right. So we're going to be talking to her about her story, the things that she has been struggling with, in the hope that, it brings you some inspiration, even if you are struggling at the moment. So hi, Hayley. Welcome. Hope you can hear me okay. I know you're having a bit of issue with sound at the moment. So welcome to the crew. Tell us a little bit about your story. When did you first start struggling with your weight?
It started for me at a really young age. I'd say probably around the 12, 13. It was just after my mum passed away,
Yep.
and I went to live with another family. And I think that it started with, trying to cover up the symptoms of everything that had happened. Food was put in place as a way to get through what was going on, not just for myself, but everyone. And I think I learned very quickly some quite bad habits that I know now to be, just not actually knowing back then at that age how to go through grief, how to understand. I had no idea how to eat properly. It wasn't even a thing back then at my age to understand how to fuel yourself, or even if that was a thing. But I think from the age of about 15, I think it is when you're allowed to go to Weight Watchers. Started going to Weight Watchers, and again, you're not being taught really how to eat properly. It's like, all the processed food still, but within a point system. And I just thought as long as I stayed within my points, I could eat what I wanted. Even if that was a bag of chips from the chip shop, if you lost weight that week, you know.
Yep.
So really, when I look back, just some real poor beginnings on how to manage emotional health, uh, your health, in general. Um, I think that, we don't, not all people get taught unless they've got, a parent or someone around them, that's not healthy, told and that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, you get on the scales, that's what mattered. Um, Even going to Weight Watchers, getting on the scales, oh, the anxiety that I would get
Tell us
in that
about that
queue.
experience. So I remember, like, when I was struggling, like in my 20s, I would go to Weight Watchers too. And I always used to see mum like going to Weight Watchers when I was growing up too. So, yeah, tell us about your experience going there.
Oh, like I can remember, like, my auntie Dad, she'd be like, come on, everyone in the car, and we'd all pile in. And everyone would like have their heads down. It's like, oh, I haven't done good this week, and we'd get there, you'd get out the car, and she'd be like, if we lose weight, we'll go to the chip shop. It's like,
Yeah.
we get in and everyone's just looking at each other as though, wow, she lost weight, or or you'll have the one every week loses weight, and you're just like, and you're in that queue and you're just, oh, that anxiety. I can remember feeling it and thinking, what's this? Why am I feeling like this? But almost feeling sick.
Yep.
Uh, and it was like, again, I think another pivotal moment that imprints on your way through life, where I was just like, oh my God, the scales started to become so big and so dented in the way that I viewed them, the emotion that I was feeling about to get on them. And I'd get on them and she'd be like, oh, you've not lost anything this week, or you'd gained, or like now, I wish I could go back. Of course, I've gained because I've been eating crap for the last week. How much of real food? Um, so the disappointment that I would feel then after that, I felt ashamed, um, disappointed in myself. And you've got a room full of women, sometimes men, that are there to see that. So it was just like, standing on a stage, everybody looking at you, waiting, and they knew by the look on your face whether you'd, gained or lost or whatever. And then, the lady would sit everyone down and she'd be like, right, well done to so and so, losing X amount this week. And you're sitting there thinking, I'm not even going to stay for the meeting because I haven't even lost anything. And we go. And then, we'd be like, well, let's go to the chip shop anyway because we all feel shit.
Yeah. Setting off that emotional eating pattern all over again, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, I think that you don't realize at the time until, we have someone like you that pulls all that stuff out. And then you're just like, wow, I had no idea that that was such a big indicator on how I view weight loss, how I view the scales, what it was doing to me, and how much I needed to break it down and like Mythbusters, break the myth of what you believed.
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing how it instills some a lot of beliefs in us. We'll talk about like some beliefs that you picked up along the way in a moment, but I want to sort of first go like, what other things did you try over your years to try and lose this weight that you'd put on?
Duramine.
Yeah,
So,
that's
the weight loss drug. At first, I can remember my doctor saying to you, oh, I'm sure they'd love to speak to you. You've lost so much weight, because I think it was after I had my second child. I just ballooned in weight. I went up to about 110 kilo, maybe more,
yeah,
and I lost heaps in such a quick time. And it was just, it was like all that mattered was the weight loss. It didn't matter how you got there. The end point was the weight loss. But what I realized in that whole time is that I became an absolute mental case because I wasn't sleeping. It disrupts your sleep beyond belief. I do believe now that that's probably why I did have such issues sleeping after, to the point where I had to have a sleep study done because they couldn't understand why I couldn't sleep so
wow.
well. So whether it's like long lasting effects of that drug,
Mhm.
um, just whether it contributed to thyroid issues. Look, again, it's like, for most people, the end goal is the weight loss. They don't really care what they've got to do to get there, whether it's the injections or, some drug addicts are skinny but you wouldn't want to be a drug addict to be skinny. So, but I felt like that's what I was doing. And I got to the point where I was like, well, that is the only way I can lose weight. I'm going to have these tablets and put up with what they're doing to me because that's the only way I can do it.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely destroying me. Like I was moody, I was snapping at my kids, almost felt like I was a horrible person while I was on them.
Be interesting to know
Very
what's in them.
erratic.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know what's in those
Oh,
drugs as well, whether they are sort of, amphetamine based or something like that, because
God,
all those sorts of behaviors and the effect of the sleep, those sorts of things are affected by, certain drugs as well that can keep people or lead to a lot of weight loss. So yeah. So what
but
sort of
even when you
beliefs?
finish them,
Yeah.
sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, carry on.
Even when you put it all back on,
Oops, I lost you there. Are you back?
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry, I think we lost you there for a moment. Um, so what sort of beliefs did you pick up, either about yourself or about weight loss or your ability to be able to achieve a healthy weight through your time trying?
Just that I had no control over it, that I wasn't able to um, make changes, that, you're no good, that, you cannot lose weight. You're just not going to be one of those people. And it's constant like a circle, getting on the scales, feeling ashamed, disappointed, trying to eat well. And you think, well, why can't I have this motivation? But we know motivation runs out, we need to be consistent with what we're doing. And like I guess I didn't know the right tools. So that's why I kept on getting it wrong because I was going by old systems and programs that I thought that I had to almost starve myself to lose weight. Having what they called now to help you go to the toilet.
Oh, laxatives.
Yeah, like things like that. Like I feel like I went through a real stage of almost abusing my body because I didn't. Well, I know now is that we weren't loving it enough. When you do good for your body, then things start to happen and they start to come into place. But it's like we are so. It's almost like you're taught to think that it's against you. Your mind is against you, but like you've just got to change the program. And I think when you do that, then all of a sudden you're just like, wow, you know, just all these pennies start dropping. You're just like, gosh, why did I not do this sooner?
Yeah. So tell me what made you want to get support in the end? What was the thing that made you just sort of step forwards and go help?
Okay. I'm going to the UK in a couple of weeks. Going back home to, see people, and I thought I can't go back, being overweight or, things like that. I want to look like I've, got some sort of control over myself. And also my partner and I wanted to get married as well while we're over there. And oh gosh, I bought two dresses. I bought one in a size 14, one in a 12. And I was like, right, do I just keep the 14 and get it taken in if I happen to magically lose some weight? And then I was like, I was just like, no, keep the 12. And the whole time I'm just like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like this voice in my head was just like, you can't do it. The self-talk was shocking. But I was like, no, no, get out. And I took the size 14 back, kept the 12. And, I even put it on the other day, and my kids were like, gosh, it's looking loose, isn't it? And I was just like, still trying to understand how I know how I did it, but like, it's just like the realization when it's right in front of you that like, shit, I did it.
Yeah, that's
Still got more,
amazing.
getting there.
Yeah, but it was that like needing to go back, like going back to the UK. You had your wedding coming up. You had to get into a dress. It's like, oh shit. Now
No.
I need to get some help for this. Yeah. So tell me, like you first um you first bought my Kickstart program and then you joined the transformation program. So what tell me about like in the early days when you first picked up that Kickstart program, what were the things that started changing for you? Because you had some really big results in those early, like 8 weeks or so. Um, what were the things? Tell us about how you started to feel differently, and what really started to work for you in that time.
I think it was like, you saying, slow down and actually feel what is happening. I can remember saying to you that I got on the scales and just started to breathe in that moment. And I was like, right, okay, I don't need to feel ashamed. I don't need to feel embarrassed. This is a tool, it's a number, it's showing me a direction of what things are going in. But it was just that slowing down and listening to what you had said. And I think in the past, I would have just got on the scales and felt all the panic and then just gone and done something to override that feeling rather than sitting with it and feeling it. And I started to realize that probably through a lot of my life, I've overridden feelings and not sat with them and go through them. And that was a massive thing for me. It was like all of a sudden you feel like you're meeting yourself for the first time, and that you're like, gosh, you're not so bad after all, like I'm actually comfortable sitting here with you right now and thinking and feeling what is going on, and just that it's okay, you are safe, and that there was more tools to come. But like I can remember saying to you that I just feel different because for the first time I felt like I'd actually just sat with myself,
Mm.
which I never thought would be a thing. I can remember one of our first sessions we did like a meditation. And I can remember thinking my view of meditation was like, oh gosh, what are we doing this for? But like when I sat there and did it, I was like, oh shit, all the feelings coming up. And then I can remember after thinking that was actually good in getting it out, feeling where it was coming from and feeling all these points where it was coming through and breathing and letting it out. Like I felt that was just such a big thing for me to actually have somebody sit with me face to face and say, no, we are doing this right now. Rather than if somebody has said to me, oh, you need to do that, go home and do it, I probably wouldn't have done it, or I would have been like, oh, but like when you're in front of me telling me I've got to do it, it's different.
Yeah, tell me what you feel. Tell me where you feel it in your body. Like, what does it feel like? Describe it to me, right? Because you are going through that experience on the spot with me. I'm also teaching you how to do it for yourself. If I just described to you how to do it, like how to go away and do it, you would have been like cognitively in here, yeah, but not in your body. And
Yeah.
when we go through that experience in our body, that we really start to understand. It's like teaching our subconscious mind and our body something new. So yeah, and you realize that having a feeling is not something you have to escape from. Having an emotion is not something that we have to run away from or suppress. It's something we can actually sit with and feel 100% fully, own it, and it's not going to kill us. And
Yeah.
it's so powerful, can't it? Yeah. So
Yeah. And just knowing if you change, that change is good. I think you kind of try to stay where you are because it's safe.
mm,
But then when you start to change, it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, this is where, those uncomfortable bits in the change, that's where the growth is.
yeah.
And then when you feel that, you're just like, okay, you get to the point where you're like, I want more of that now because it's obviously leading you to where you need to go.
Yeah. So tell me about what uncomfortable changes were happening for you, particularly with your food habits, your relationship to food? What were some of those things that were changing for you that were uncomfortable that you had to work through?
Hmm, uncomfortable. I think it was just the meal prepping.
Mm,
Um, Thinking that, I found that in the beginning quite difficult because of having a family. But I was like, right, how am I going to cook for them, and how do they fit into this? And still cooking for them the food that was keeping me where I was. So having to make uncomfortable choices where I'd say to my partner, I need you to look after your food. And sometimes the kids say, like, I'd feel terrible because I'd be like, you've been at work all day. I need you to come home and maybe do some of this. Like, get them to help. Whereas, I think sometimes as stay-at-home mums, you think that it's all on you, the cooking and things like that. But I said, look, I kind of need your help here. If I'm going to do this, I need you to help along the way. And it's actually been good for all of us because now we're all eating quite similar. So it was uh, uncomfortable to ask for help, I guess, with
yeah.
food.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for a lot of people as well. A lot of women, especially, asking their partners to step up and help. How was he with being asked to do that?
He was fine. And I think there might have been some times where he'd come home from work and he was tired and he was just like, oh, and I'd feel bad. But then I'd be like, don't feel guilty. It's okay. Like I had to try and keep myself out of the guilt trap
Yeah.
of, feeling like I'd, not done my duties if there wasn't some made. But what I did say was like, oh, I made this lentil that to eat. It just might not be what you right now. But like he's like really good now. He's just like, oh, can we have that salady, noodly thing that you make with the edamame beans?
Yeah.
He just loves it. They
What
all do
you mean?
actually.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you mentioned
Of the
also that he and the kids are now eating very similar to you. So tell me what happened in that transition. Like, how did that happen?
they like the kids just loved it. They enjoyed it. And I think that my say mood or my the way I was being like sharing it with them, like we were all getting I was getting excited about sharing my food, and when they liked it I was just like, see, it's really good. And then we'd be sitting out in the garden in the sun, like all with these bowls of beautiful food that was colourful, just really enjoying it together. And I was like, gosh, this feels like real goals right now. It just felt lovely. And even like my partner, like he'd message ahead, like, during the day, can we have that noodle thing again? Just do it me every day for the week, you
Oh my God, yeah,
know?
that's so cool because
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, again, like so many people are afraid like that they're the only one who's going to be going through this transition. Eating more whole foods, the family are not going to, they're going to have to cook twice for all the family members when actually, if you stand up and do this for yourself and ask for the support that you need, you never know. You may actually be able to bring everybody else on the journey. I've had a few clients like that, including you, whose family, whose kids, whose partners have come on the journey with them because then they see the food that's in front of them and they go, "Oh my God, that's amazing! Can I have some too?" So yeah, that's
yeah,
fantastic.
the
Yeah,
food is so nice. Like, I printed out all of your recipes, and they say, oh, what we're gonna have for dinner tonight? And I'm like, have a look. And they'll flip through, and there's so many of them that've been on repeat. Like my middle child loves the lentil dal with the cashew cream.
yep,
Oh,
yep,
like she could eat that every single day, which I'm glad to as well because I know it's good for her.
yeah, yeah. So good. It's one of my favorites too. Absolutely. And so what were some of the other big like ahas or things, ahas that you had or things that really shifted for you as you went through this experience?
See, I know there's loads, but I'm just like trying to access the memory right now.
Well, one of the biggest ones that I remember taking away was that it was like your body had been stuck in fight or flight for such a long time.
Oh yeah.
And your the action that you were taking was often a result of feeling unsafe in your body, stress levels, anxiety, which just seemed to be like a pattern that had started in early childhood. You know, the way that you had, you know, your experiences as a child had left you feeling really unsafe, you know, when you lost your parents. And so
Yeah.
that then sort of became a pattern. Then you had, you know, experiences with your family as you grew up and certain other things in your life. And then it just felt like, you know, you were always sort of on, you know, in a state of anxiety or stress. And and you were turning to food in order to shut down that uncomfortable feeling in your body. And so that was one of the things that we really recognized and just sort of did some work around acknowledging why your nervous system was kind of stuck in that zone, and that, you know, your actions were just simply a reaction to it and not something to like shame yourself over. It was something just to recognize and honor and just start working on changing. So when you changed, when you were able to sit with the feeling, the uncomfortable feeling in your body, it really started to help to I guess change the nervous system, and how you were feeling, and therefore change your eating behaviors as well. That was one of the ones I remember. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah. Oh yeah. Any other sort of like key lessons?
I think the biggest thing whilst being on this transition was, a couple of months ago, my auntie passed away. And this was my mum's sister. So when she passed away, so this was somebody that, raised me, was organising us getting married, everything, and she just died suddenly a couple of months ago. And I can remember messaging you thinking, am I allowed to message her? Should I message her? And I remember messaging thinking, I believed that I was just going to absolutely fall apart, go to shit, and just eat and eat and eat because almost that's what my body was telling me to do because that's
Static
how,
response, right? Yeah.
yeah. And like, I can remember like there was a couple of days where I was just shaking and I was just like, I don't know why I can't stop shaking. But it was like my nervous system was, I was actually worried at one point because I was just like, gosh, I can't control the way my body is reacting at the moment. But I don't understand why, but like I kind of went the opposite way and I just didn't want to eat. The thought of eating made me feel a bit, a bit sick. But I can remember you saying, like, it weren't anything about food. It was just like, you are safe. And I was just like, gosh, like no one's ever said that to me before. Even when my mum passed away when I was younger, not one person said to me, you are safe, that when someone says that, it's like, oh, relax. I don't have to be shaking and be frightened about what's going to happen. My body doesn't have to react like this. But when you said that, I was just like, gosh, those simple words just switched it off. And
Mm.
I was just like, I couldn't understand why at the time. I was just like, well, I kind of look back on the whole experience and feel like, even though I'm absolutely gutted and devastated that she's passed away, but there's like a hidden gift in it all that whilst I was being carried by you and what was, what we were learning, that I had this, somebody putting their hand in and pulling out all the same experiences that I had as a child, giving them to me as an adult, where I'm able to know more now and change the program, that I don't have to go into the cupboard 50 times of a night because I'm getting these emotions build up. And I could see I'm looking for something to change it, and food being that thing. And it's like you pointed out, you're looking for something to change or get a dopamine hit or to switch the course of what you're feeling right now. How about you just stand still and just say, right, okay, what is this now? What are you showing me? What do you want to tell me? Do you, you know, what do I need to know? And, just I kept saying to myself, we're safe, you are safe. And honestly, I have not binged since. That is just blows my mind because and I'd feel disgusting. I'd hate myself. And the next day I'd be like, oh, why did you do that? And, like I just don't do it. So the gift in it was that I had an opportunity to share with you where these things were coming from, and you could point them out and give your perspective. And for some reason, they were just words that sometimes people can say things and you're like, oh my God, that's it. That's exactly it. And it was just changing everything in my body. I could feel things changing. Like, it's like I walk around now feeling whole,
Yeah.
not feeling parts of me broken.
Yeah.
Because, we're not, we feel broken in that moment, but allow that to feel broken, but like we can repair, and we need to fuel ourselves, and, that rest and digest, and, you know, get sleep when you can. And, I honestly believed that I was like, oh my God, this program and it's all going to go downhill now. It was all ruined because of, what had happened. I would never have believed you if you'd have turned around to me and said, you know what, in 3 months' time, you're going to be a whole different person because of this tragedy that's happened, and that you were going to love who you are and be at a weight that you want to be, and, on your way to where you want to be, because this experience has allowed you to pull out all those things that made you think you couldn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like that little test, isn't it? So you've been through a lot of big learning journey, and now here's the bit of a test to see how you're going to go to react. And
Yeah.
it's almost like you passed the test. When you came to me, when you sent that message, it was like it was the child version of you who'd just been told that your mother had died. That's what was going on inside of your body. Your body didn't know the difference between now and then, but a parental figure had just died. And it was just bringing up all of those nervous system responses in your body again, which was saying, I'm unsafe, I don't know what's going to happen next. So it was just, a reminder to you that you're not a child anymore. You are an adult and you are safe. And the situation is different. You've got different skills, different learnings, and it's okay to feel what you feel. You don't have to suppress it. So yeah, that I think was a real not a turning point, like a big testing point for you. And it really showed how far you've come in your journey. And that was the moment where you could either just go straight back to the beginning and all the patterns could come back up, or you could lean into it and just show yourself how far you've come. And you did that, which is super important. Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
almost like when you've been through something like that, you can go through anything. It's like, oh, I can have anything happen in the world now. I can have anything happen in my life, and I know that I'm going to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes it would be good if you could have that, download, some somatic experiencing where, you can go back and tell yourself, you will survive because I'm here.
Mm.
And it's like, it was almost like in that moment, you were the person saying, you will survive. I know you will. But it's like I needed someone to tell me that because,
Well,
I
you
didn't
needed
think,
someone to tell you that when you were a child,
yeah,
right? And that version of us always still lives inside. We've always got the child within who went through the difficult things that we didn't know how to deal with, and she comes out, she resurfaces, and then tries to take control. So she's trying to keep herself safe. But in those moments, that's when we just need to go in ourselves and give ourselves the advice that we needed to hear as a 5-year-old child. And that's what helps that inner 5-year-old. I say 5-year-old, whatever age you were. That's what helps the inner child stay safe or feel safe in that moment. And it significantly changes for us, because I've, had these experiences, not necessarily with food, but, big emotional stuff as well. I've been able to help myself heal some of those wounds too. And it just helps you feel so much stronger as you move forward in life. And it changes your relationship with food, with alcohol, with anything that you might be struggling with. And and you can just move forwards. And of course, the weight, as we said, is always a symptom of something deeper. And so what we're really doing is we're healing the deeper thing that has resulted in the symptom of weight gain. So you've really started to really made a significant dent in some of the root causes of your weight gain, which is amazing. And so what advice, what sort of, I guess, pieces of wisdom or advice would you drop out there to anybody who might be struggling with something like emotional eating, with binging, with, suppressing emotions in food, or just with weight gain in general?
I think it would be, don't be afraid to just pull it all out, and don't be afraid of digging in. I think, I used to be afraid of crying in front of people, because I'd be like, don't look at me, because I'd see it as a weakness. And I'd always be apologizing. Oh, I'm sorry I cried. And like, don't be afraid. Like, it doesn't matter. We have got this one amazing life. Give yourself the opportunity and time to give it a go. And like, with what you offer, like, there's just nothing like it. I honestly thought it was going to be all about the food, and there's some amazing knowledge about the food, and the food is unreal. But like, there's stuff that's underneath the reasons why we do what we do. And it's almost like, you get all these traumas, and then you've got food and healthy eating and unhealthy eating, and it just becomes so merged that you get to a point where you don't always know where it's coming from. And then you've got somebody that's, laid out, this is what you're going to eat, this is what you're going to do. And but we're also going to start seeing, why you do what you do and your patterns, and you're just like, wow, like, it's super uncomfortable, but like, the growth that's there is massive. And anyone that is on the fence about doing this, or whether to do, I'm just like, oh my gosh, give yourself some love and live your life, and give yourself the opportunity. Like, the weight comes off, and it becomes a point of that it feels easy, because you've got your wheels on, and you're rolling. And that if you do make a mistake, or you eat something you shouldn't, or you got a meal going out, that's okay. Just say, right, well, this meal wasn't the best. Forgive yourself and move forward. Whereas before, I would be like, right, that's it, falls up completely, and eat even more. I don't think I actually could now, because I don't think any that much food fits in anymore.
Yeah.
But like, I love that saying that, like, you got a flat tire, don't get out and slash all of them.
Mm.
you know um just actually learn how to forgive yourself, forget about others. Forgive yourself, because once you can do that, you're like, right, okay, I didn't do that great in this moment, or you know what, that was okay, I'm gonna eat the next meal, even if it was like your lunch, well, my dinner's going to be better. Don't wait till Monday or the next day, because that was a Weight Watchers thing as well. It's like, I'll get back on it on Monday. You'd wait to the weekend. Well, that's probably a bit of a binge thing as well. Wait to the weekend, and you can balls it all up, and you've got till Thursday or Friday before weigh day to
Yeah.
put it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Restriction.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I definitely do it. And that, the one of the I love this, and it's like, really understanding the satiety point.
Mhm.
that, there is a point where most people are sitting down eating and you're just like, I've had enough. But then it's like you kind of still keep going because you don't want to waste what's there. But like, it all goes down the shitter anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Don't be afraid to waste food. Put less on your plate then. You
Yeah,
know, um,
too much
nine times out
says
of ten, you
bad.
don't go back and cook more anyway
Yeah.
because you can't be bothered,
Yeah.
So, yeah, just the satiety point was massive, actually recognizing and saying, right, I've had enough now. And it's quite empowering that you can say, right, I have actually got a switch in there that tells me when my body's had enough. And when you start listening to it, you can't unlisten to it.
Yeah. 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 So it's all about more getting back into your body, I would say, isn't it? Like whether
Yeah.
it's hunger and satiety or whether that's, getting in and just understanding and feeling your emotions instead of suppressing them. Yeah, we've been so conditioned um to step outside of our body. Like our body is just a thing that our brain directs. Well, actually, our body's trying to send us a lot of messages. And when we reconnect to it and actually start to honor it instead of, thinking that it's against us and that it's something to be, I don't know, disgusted about. Once we start switching the narrative there and really getting into and understanding our body, we can work with it and what it's trying to tell us at all times. And yeah, so it is a lot more powerful than just going on a diet and um, going to Weight Watchers and just counting points and thinking it's all about the scale, right? It's about long-term behavior change. It's about helping your body feel safe so that you're not suppressing with food. It's about listening to the signals that your body is giving you. It's so much more than just diet and what you're eating, what you're putting in your mouth. Amazing.
I'd say a lot of what's changed as well is because I run quite a bit. I did a marathon just before I started your course, I think. And honestly, I was obviously, gosh, it's like 12 kilos heavier. And I felt it. I felt it in my knees and my back. And, looking at the picture now, I'm just like, gosh, I did look a lot bigger. And, my running has changed. I feel lighter. I almost feel like I could float sometimes. And, my energy does feel endless. Um, Sometimes I think, oh, I'm going to stop now because I'm bored, not because I've run out of energy,
Yeah.
which is, I don't even, I feel like I don't know how that happened, but I do,
It's James
Um,
Wilkes on the game changers with the ropes, right? Oh,
yeah.
it's an hour
Oh,
already. Oh, I'm gonna stop.
yeah, yeah. And it's literally, just we can do hard things and just give yourself the opportunity to try the hard things and don't be afraid of, seeing all the ugly, just
Or rather, don't judge
stop.
it as ugly. Like it's our own internal perceptions of our emotions, whether we call them ugly, but they're just emotions. It's just a signal. Our emotions are just like a message trying to alert us to danger in this world, right? Danger or safety. And so if we can pull back any of the judgment that we feel towards ourselves, towards our emotions, towards our actions, it just changes, the next action that we then take. Um,
Hmm.
Amazing.
And I'm thinking as well, like, that it definitely hasn't been easy, that I definitely still had those sabotaging habits in there where people pleasing and, even, doing well, like, you kind of, I was like, don't see me, don't want anyone to see me doing well, that, you kind of
There's a few people going
can
to see
like
you doing well
sabotage
now.
yourself. Pardon?
A few people are going to see you doing well now, so get used to it. But yeah, like being seen, people pleasing, all sorts of so they're self-protection strategies that we develop as children, right? We people please because we think we're keeping ourselves safe. Not, yes, it's to try and keep other people happy, but why? So we can be, so we can feel like we're getting their love or their safety, right? And so all of our behavior is just based in trying to keep ourselves safe. So if we come back to that, then we can stop judging it, and we can start, helping ourselves, or showing ourselves where we are safe, and we don't need to, or helping ourselves put our needs first instead of people pleasing, and know that we are safe doing that. Yeah, so there's always a little bit of stuff that comes up on our journey. Every step that we take towards our goals is going to trigger some layer, of self-sabotage or self-doubt or shitty thinking or something. It always comes up. It's like peeling off an onion. And if we can get used to the process of allowing that to happen, of recognizing it, and then working on it rather than avoiding working on it, then we get to progress. We get to then get to the next layer and peel that off, and we get closer and closer to our goals. So that's almost like a habit that we want to develop as well. And you've been doing pretty good with that so far. So
Yeah, I think staying consistent in peeling that back, like, your groups on a Friday. Oh gosh, like having other people in there giving, what they're going through, you learn from them. You just like, someone will say something and you're like, oh my gosh, I do that, and you're just like, wow, I never even realized it. And, keep peeling it back. And with having you catching the in-betweens is like really, really awesome.
and I love having that group session as well, the community session, because like we all do learn from each other, and I still learn from a lot from my clients as well, because I'm not there to fix anybody. I'm there just to like help people become aware of what they're doing, and how, and just explore why they're doing what they're doing, and then, help them change that. So, it's really helped me a lot as a coach as well. So, but no, thank you. It's been awesome having you as part of the community, Hayley, and good luck when you go back over to the UK. I hope you blow all your friends and your family away when you get over there, and hope you have an amazing wedding. And thank you for being with us today and telling your story, and sharing the difficulties that you've had, but also the wins that you've had and the things that have really changed for you. And I hope anybody else out there who is struggling, or either at the beginning of your journey, or if you're really struggling with where you're at, I hope you can take away from this that there is light and success at the end of the tunnel. You might just need to find the right person to work with, whether that's me or somebody else, doesn't really matter, but it's getting that support that helps you really see your own patterns of behavior, because they're just so familiar to, our own patterns of behavior and our own beliefs are just so familiar to us that we don't even realize half the time that they're the things standing in our way. And so for anybody who might be struggling at the beginning of your journey, or you're just a little bit confused about what to eat, how to go about this to achieve your weight loss goals, I'm going to be running my next free weight loss workshop in around mid to end July. I can't remember the exact starting date. It's something like the 20th or 21st. So if you would like to understand the foundations of healthy and sustainable fat loss, then please do reach out to me just on social media. Just send me a message, and we can just schedule a quick 10-minute call to see if this is going to be right for you. Alternatively, if you know that you are ready to get some coaching, you want that hand holding, that support, and you want to inquire about joining my program, then please reach out to me also, or book an appointment with me. On this video, I've actually just given you a link to book a Calendly appointment with me, or just look at my website, theplantpowercoach.com.au, and you'll see a booking link right up the top there. Just book a free call and we'll just have a chat and see if the coaching program is going to be a good fit for you. But for today, I just want to thank Hayley so much for being here. I hope you all took away something from that conversation. And I'll be back with you in a couple of weeks with another amazing client, Lisa, who I saw was actually watching us a little bit there today. Lisa has reverse type 2 diabetes, as well as losing, I think, 55 pounds now. So tune in a couple of weeks for that chat as well. And for me, I'm heading off to Rarotonga for a week to go and enjoy some sunshine, go and lie on a beach for a while. So thank you everyone for joining us, and we will catch you again later. Right, ciao, bye.